Hello everybody, today I am ranking the Iron Man trilogy from worst to best, so let's get started. Coming in third place is Iron Man 2. As you all know, this is considered one of my most disliked MCU films. It's a hot take, I know, but it has so many stories. Whiplash, Sam Rockwell's character, Tony's dying, Brody doesn't want him having the suits, he's covering his ass the whole time, and he steals a suit and they have a battle and there's internal conflict. Pepper's not happy with the company, she's taking over. Scarlett Johansson's this as Black Widow, Happy's there as well. Like, there's a lot going on and it just doesn't gel these storylines together. Doesn't feel that coherent. It feels like it's just throwing things at the screen. And yes, there's some enjoyable parts of this film. I probably was a little bit harsh on it, but I love the original Iron Man. That's why this sequel made me so mad. Coming in at number 2 is the original Iron Man. Yeah, this is a hot take, but I really think this has a lot of... I'm kidding. Number 2 is Iron Man 3. I actually quite enjoyed this film. I think it has a lot of interesting aspects, especially the parts about Tony dealing with his anxiety and having anxiety attacks because of the Avengers. He's dealing with a lot right now, and he knows the aliens are going to be coming back at some point in the future, and he's just terrified. He's petrified, and he knows Thanos, this great threat, is coming. And so good we got that payoff. I reckon it makes this movie that much more better. His suit goes down, so he's having to rely on being quick, smart, and making his own gadgets and all that. It made for some fun sequences, and I like Ty Simpkins, the little kid. I thought he was a fun addition. And sure, the plot twist of the Mandarin, that made a lot of comic book fans mad, but I wasn't really a Mandarin. I didn't know much about him, so I saw this plot twist and was like, oh, okay, they're doing this. That's interesting. And Guy Pearce, he was already the villain already. We knew that, but then he was actually the main villain behind the scenes, pulling all the strings. And he was a fine Marvel villain. I didn't think he was great. A lot of these Marvel villains are quite forgettable, so he just kind of goes like, meh, he was fine, passable. But yeah, Ben Kingsley's super funny in this role and this movie. And I just think this is a bit more of a coherent and a bit more of an enjoyable, fleshed out story. Going off the back of the original Avengers film, and it just has a lot more for me that I enjoyed. But of course, number 1 has to be the original Iron Man, the Kickstarter for Marvel, who was going to be potentially selling all the rights to DC of all their superheroes, which would be a completely different world we would be living in. It would be Zack Snyderverse with all these characters. Imagine that. Holy crap. What a mess. But this was such a standout performance, and I think it has one of the best villains of Ironmonger, how he's kind of pushing Tony out of the company. It was his dad's best friend, but he's betraying him, and he tries to get him killed in the cave, and they go, like, Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. It has so much engrossing, and he's so charismatic, Robert Downey Jr. in this role. It's like just him, he's being Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. There's no really... It doesn't seem like there's much differences in these two characters in real, with Robert Downey Jr. in real life and Tony Stark. They just kind of go well together, and it's just like the role he was, you could easily say it's the role he was born to play. The cave sequence alone is just an absolute standout badass, seeing the original Iron Man Mark I suit coming out into play, flamethrower and all, rockets. It's so good. And his first test flight, awesome. Loved all this film. I think it's a great rendition. It's just a great origin story for a Marvel character, and just the Kickstarter the Marvel Universe needed to launch to become how big it is now. Holy crap. It is huge. But that's my list of the ranking the Iron Man trilogy. What's your list? Do you rank it the same? Is it a little bit different? But that's going to start the video, so be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all that rubbish. And I'll be sure to see you all on the next video. Mwah.